Good morning and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto on February 22nd, 2024. And as I say today on the title page, Ethereum still trending or now ranging? How to know? It's very important. It might sound particularly sexy sort of way to start the video, but let me tell you, it's really important and can make a big difference to your profitability going forward, which is always a good thing. All right, let's get right into it. But before we do, of course, this is not financial advice, never is. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Well, let's go to the charts first, and there is certainly a lot going on and has been for the last 24 hours. You'll no doubt be aware that NVIDIA earnings have come out, which have exceeded expectations, which is great, and we'll have a look at the indices regarding that shortly, the TradFi indices. So that's one good thing. Also, Uncle Jerry's minutes from his meeting of the Fed has come out and said same, as I've been saying for a long time. At least you can take this particular Fed chairman seriously. I've in the many years of trading on TradFi as well as crypto in the last 7 years, come across many Fed chairmen who are, unlike this fellow, don't mean what they say. And Uncle Jerry does, as he says, and you can just take this away as a baseline. He says multiple times, just about every press conference, that he's going to stay the course until the job is done. End of story. He doesn't. He's a multimillionaire from being an investment banker. He really, at the end of the day, doesn't affect him personally, but his legacy and his integrity are what's important to him. And you can clearly see that. And so I've got no reason to doubt that he's going to turn into a limp lettuce leaf and suddenly roll over at the market whim. Not at all. So we can put those two aspects to bed and say there's not really anything there to surprise the market. So let's continue on into the data. Now, as you can see, the price is moving quite rapidly during the Asian session, and we're on the 4-hour time frame here. Now, what's interesting from the 4-hour, and as you know, I don't trade unless I'm scalping. I don't usually take too much notice of the 4-hour time frame unless it's I'm looking for some more confluence. So of the trend, and as you can see here, this is our ongoing trend here. And we're going to answer that question of trending versus ranging as part of this whole process. But from the H4 perspective, it looks like we're still trending. It's holding the important 21 EMA, not even looking likely that it's wanting to come down and test the 50. And you can see here in the last few hours, we've come up. And that was yesterday, of course, coming up and producing a range top. If it is a range of 30-37, I was able to take that nice scalp yesterday morning. And since then, it's come down and tested the H4 and has not really given us a great indication of where it plans to go. So there's a lot of chop happening at the moment in the markets, and certainly the 4-hour time frame. All it's saying to us, if we were just relying on that, we'd say, okay, market's continuing to trend to the upside. But is that the whole story? Well, as I always say, if in doubt, zoom out. And you'll see here, prior yearly high, 27.20, which I've left on the chart there. Okay, we've come through, gone up to that yearly high of that 30.37. And you see now we've started to roll over. This is on the daily, of course. Last couple of days, we're nearly 2 hours into the new day. And interesting how price is coming back down. Will it come all the way back down here to 27.20 and confirm a range, or is there another range forming? That's the question that a lot of people are not paying attention to. They're thinking, oh, this must be where these wicks are. Of course, this is going to be the bottom of the range. Maybe. Don't forget, Bitcoin ETF, buying pressure, demand far outstripping supply. That is a big deal for the whole market. So we may not, with all that buying pressure, and remember, a rising tide lifts all boats, and if King Bitcoin continues to the upside, it will certainly do so for Ethereum. But, okay, could we, the bottom of these wicks here, let's see, that one's 28.66, and that one there is 28.73. Now, keep that in mind, that 28.60 to 28.80, and if you remember the last few days' videos, it's been an important level, so we'll go to that in a minute. But definitely on the daily chart, it could be indicating that a range is forming between 28.60 and 28.80. Now, let's go to another chart. Now, let's have a look at the liquidation heat map on Binance for Ethereum, and looky, where is this big liquidity band here? 28.80, and there's another one down here at 28.76. There's 28 million there and 29 million, some juicy liquidity. I'll tell you something that really shows the manipulation that goes on in the market. And let me tell you, 27 years in trading, the traditional markets are manipulated. They're manipulated behind the scenes. The difference with the crypto market manipulation is it's in your face. There is no doubt. It doesn't pretend not to be manipulated. Simple as that. And here's an example. There was a big liquidity band up here around the 30-40 level this morning, and that was only about 3 or 4 hours ago. Completely disappeared now. It has been taken off. So the market, sure, the market may be expecting to go down and take these liquidity bands naturally, or there could have been a manipulation by the market maker who has removed this attraction to the upside, which would naturally pull price up there, and is betting and wanting the market to go down so that they can liquidate these longs. It's not paranoia. It's just the way the market makers operate. That's how they stick their hands in the pockets of the retail traders. So don't let them do that to you. Be wiser, and let's continue on and show you how to continue outsmarting the market makers. And just before we leave this chart, let's look at the 3-day and let's have a look. Here's a band here, 28.67. So remember that 28.60 to 28.80. Now, you'll see here on the 3-day, there is quite a strong band of liquidity up here at 30.40, but this is one that is that longer time frame of 3 days. It's definitely not reflected in the 12 hours. So in the short term, right, it's not being shown in the 12-hour time frame, so that money has not come in the most recent 12-hour period. This has been the longer time frame the money has been sitting there. So in the short term, you would think, what's the market maker doing? He's wanting us to go down to this level down here. And look at this, 255 million. There's a lot down there. Let me see, there's about 231 million. So it's still substantial to the upside. But you'll see on the low time frame, what I was showing you in that 12-hour, very different to the 3 days. So to start with, likely that the market maker wants to come down here. But again, are we going to form a range, a new range, 28.60 to 28.80 at the bottom, or is there other shenanigans going on? Let's continue. And of course, this is the aggregate exchange liquidation map. So between the three big derivatives exchanges, and you'll see here on the 1 day, it's quite evenly balanced between upside and downside where the price action is at the moment. So looking at that, you think, it could be drawn either way. Let's have a look at the 7-day. Now, again, fairly evenly balanced on both sides. And this is an indicator that a range is forming, because when you've got that balance on either side, yeah, it's definitely a good indicator. Remember, I've said to you many times that you don't rely on one indicator. You build up a pattern, you build up an overall picture from multiple indicators to make up your mind. Now, looking at my favorite customized chart on TradingView, just one thing to note here. Again, have a look at the TradFi indicators. The VIX is down a little bit. S&P is coming back up again. NASDAQ down a little bit. Dixie's down a bit. Dow Jones is up. Bit of a mixed bag. It's certainly no one's panicking on TradFi, that's for sure. And again, I expect this to continue when the US market opens in about 12 hours. They're going to be happy with what happened with NVIDIA. That doesn't mean the market come back down to test some lower levels, but there's certainly no panic expected in the market, which is always a good thing. Now, remember, this is the 1 hour chart, and you've got your liquidation bands that are corresponding with the daily and the 4 hour around the 30.40 and down here. And guess where that is? 28.73, smack bang in the middle between the 28.60 and 28.80. Lots of liquidity down here. And these, remember, these blue stars are the parabolic stop and reverse indicators. And you can see here, they're squeezing in, they're tightening in, indicating that a range is forming. Now, again, another confluence to say, hey, we're ranging, but what do we do with that? Well, the first thing we do, and referring to a Twitter post that I put on a couple of hours ago, we came within a whisker overnight of the 28.50 liquidation band that I was talking about yesterday and the day before, bottoming it out at 28.66. Now, that's interesting. You get in the mind of the market maker and you go, right, what are you up to? And again, this is not paranoia. It's just business. They just want your money. So let's see if we can play them at their own game. And just a note, there was a band here, as you'll see in the graphic, of liquidity. Late longers came out and got hit. Oh, sorry, not late longers. Late shorters came out and got hit at 29.40. The market just blew straight through and said, thank you for a snack for breakfast. Okay, so let's get back to the mind of the market maker and where you're going to place where your levels are for your trades. Well, for me, it's really simple in the sense of it's an overall rising market. I'm not taking any shorts. What I'm doing is looking for longs at the bottom of this range if it is forming, and we'll have confirmation of that in the next 24 to 48 hours, certainly by the end of the trading week. Okay, see this band here, again, between 28.60 and 28.80. When it got down to 28.80 yesterday, I added to my existing long. If you haven't done so already, you might like to consider it. If you don't have a position open at the moment, I would open a long at 28.80. And if it gets down to 28.60, that's fine. Quite happy for that. I'm not panicking, that's for sure. But 28.80 is, as I said, I've already added there. And I suggest, although you do you, of course, that you consider doing so as well. And then where is my take profit stop? Well, up here again, 230 million. That not only will it do me, but it'll do the market maker as well. They'll be licking their lips at $230 million worth of liquidation if it stays there. Remember, this is the 3-day chart, not the 12-hour chart. Remember, liquidation has been pulled from the 12-hour time frame, which has made this band fade off a bit, but there's still plenty of liquidations up there. So at this stage, certainly I would expect there to be some yellow band to stay there at the very worst scenario at 30.40. That's where I'm setting my take profit stop. And of course, if we do get there next day or so, well, I will then be putting my placeholder long in place just in case the market decides to keep going, because you know Ethereum's on a roll at the moment, and the Denkun upgrade froth is starting to really get some legs under it. That's the 18th of March. That's going to be released, all those exciting upgrades to Ethereum. So we're only about 3 weeks away from that. So again, and it's going to be great. It's not a froth event in itself, but the sentiment is froth, that's for sure. So market could say, hey, we're going to keep going with Ethereum up to this next band to take out this next wick at 31.83. But I'll certainly have a placeholder in of 10 ETH as my basis there in case we continue to the upside. And if it is a range and we roll over, that's fine. There'll be levels back down at the 28.80 or even 27.20, depending on where the bottom of the range is established. More likely 28.80, as I've been saying, where I'll be adding to that long position. And just 2 more charts to go. And of course, we obviously refer to King Bitcoin, and it's down. It's about in the middle of the range at the moment, about at 51.2. Have a look at this. This could be considered very, very much so a bull flag. Absolutely. And I'll leave that for you to look into that, see what bull flags mean. I won't go into great detail here, but certainly it's indicating that Bitcoin could, in the, looking at the daily chart in the next couple of days, could continue on to the upside here and break out of this pattern. But we trade the chart that's in front of us. So that's a could. Looking at the confluence of all those other data at the moment, though, you would have to say it's more likely, because of course the market likes to range, is that we'll stay in a range until further notice, until we break out and we have confirmation of a breakout. But certainly that's not the case at the moment. And the final chart, which is further confirmation of a range forming, is you'll see here, we're over this is the ETH BTC chart, of course. We are over the 200 EMA, just like up here. It's come back and it's retested it. Now, today, we're only an hour and a half, 2 hours into the new day. So this is not really telling us anything, but where this closes will be very interesting. If it closes below that, it's indicative that, again, yes, we're in a range and we're going to come down to the bottom of that range, whatever that is. Now, we don't know. That could we get a massive green candle during the UK session or the rest of the Asian session and go up to the upside. But we'll just see what happens here and pay close attention to that. So as a summary, what am I doing as far as trades go? Right now, sitting on my long position, which I've added to down at the 28.80 level yesterday, watching to see whether the price comes back down to this level. And if it does, that's great. I'm not adding down here. If it gets down to 27.20, the top of the previous range, I will add there again. But apart from that, I'm not taking any shorts, and my take profit will be at this 30.40. Of course, I'll be watching these bands. That's where I'm at. Be interesting to see how you go with your trading, what positions you take, what stops you set. But it's all very exciting, and the more we have volatility, the better it is for traders. So this is Old Bloke Crypto. and I will talk to you again tomorrow.